If my job is to go out there and take the state of Wisconsin to market, the best way to do that is with a tax system that actually works, that doesn't scare people away. Iowa is our neighbor. They have no income tax, and we're not going to be able to extract Iowa from our border, and so we had better come up with something competitive. To me, that means lowering our income tax. And I think what we could potentially do there is take it to about 5%. And I think that would be far more competitive than what we're seeing right now. Iowa also has tremendous advantages when it comes to their manufacturing segment, because they do a lot of farm machinery right now, and they are still seeing growth in the agriculture sector. What we need to do, you guys, is not base everything we have on tax credits and loans. I just went through Tom Barrett's 67-page plan for the state of Wisconsin. And before that, that's his jobs plan. Before that, I went through his diet plan, which is another 26 pages. The way we don't attract jobs and the way we don't reduce our tax burden is to offer all sorts of loans to everyone and their brother. In that plan, he offers loans everyone from veterinarians to people who support anaerobic digesters to aquaculture. We need to be very careful about what we're doing. I just had a policy meeting this afternoon, and we were talking about tax credits. I was talking about tax credits with one of Wisconsin's foremost experts on economic development, and he said, Becky, you know, tax credits don't work. They're too expensive per job. What we need instead is to invest in more venture capital and angel investors. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, that for every liberal who can think of a government solution to a problem, I will show you a conservative right here who sees a free market solution to the problem. Anybody else? Getting sick of me? It's 8:43.
I like your ideas and what you would want to do as lieutenant governor. How are you going to convince the governor to let you do what you see fit to do?
Well, the blessing is that my area of expertise,
With the marketing?
yes, falls outside of both of our gubernatorial candidates.
Okay.
When it comes right down to who we choose to bring before voters in the general election, I think that as primary voters, we have the responsibility to put in the general the most electable ticket. We are going to have a gubernatorial candidate from the public sector. I think we need a lieutenant governor from the private sector in order to broaden the life experience of the ticket. I own my own small business, Kleefisch Enterprises. I do media and marketing work. Neither of those guys has ever done media and marketing work in his life. And so they trust me, the expert, to execute on these things. Because right now, that's got to be our priority. Job recruitment, job retention, got to be our priority. We need to put Wisconsin back to work again.
Another thing, well, we're very constitutionally focused in this group, if you have not already guessed that. One of the big concerns that this group has had is watching the encroachment of federal authority over the states. In particular, recently we've all been watching the situation with Arizona and the federal government attempting to punish Arizona for trying to protect its own citizens when the federal government itself will not do what it is supposed to do. Every state at this point has a problem with illegal immigration. Wisconsin has a problem with illegal immigration. Do you see yourself as someone who stands against illegal immigration? We hope that you're going to say yes on that. And if so, what would your abilities be as lieutenant governor to implement policy or to advocate policy?
Advocating policy is what the lieutenant governor can do. The lieutenant governor does not have a vote. Like you think of the vice president casting the tie-breaking vote in the United States Senate. Lieutenant governor in Wisconsin doesn't have that.
Right.
And so the lieutenant governor can be an advocate, can use her job as a bully pulpit, can use the power and the strength of the office in order to encourage people to do the right thing. The fact of illegal immigration is that there are two letters before the legal, the I and the L, and that means illegal, not legal. They're breaking the law. It's wrong that they are here, and they are becoming a gigantic drain on our resources. Our tax dollars are going for their health care, for their education, and to combat problems that arise for which we need to use law enforcement and firefighting capabilities. That's scary stuff. Like I said before, we're poor. We don't have enough money to buy train sets. We don't have enough money to be giving stuff away for free. And that problem needs to end now. And it doesn't need to end with ridiculous platitudes and declarations like what came out of Peggy West, the Milwaukee County Board the other day, who embarrassed us all in the state of Wisconsin. We need to support Arizona in their efforts to essentially take their tax dollars back and make sure that people are responsible for themselves. Because illegal immigration is wrong at its core. There are legal ways of getting to this country. It's how all of our parents came. Some of us came directly. My ancestors came to this country on the Mayflower. My ancestors came to this state in 1850. And in 1869, my great-great-great-grandfather served in the Wisconsin legislature. And so I have a huge amount of pride in this country and in this state. But my relatives got here legally, and I would ask the same, as long as those legal channels are open, of the other folks who I would call my neighbors if they were here under the right circumstances.
And based on what you see Wisconsin's problems with illegal immigration as being, what specific policies might you advocate for in that realm?
Well, I think we can absolutely talk about doing something similar to what they did in Arizona right here in Wisconsin, because basically what Arizona is doing, and you guys probably all know this, is saying, you know, federal government, if you're not going to deal with your own issues, we'll go ahead, deal with them for you, and then hand everything over after the mess has been cleaned up. I think that that's a boon to the federal government. They should be thanking Arizona. But instead, all of the progressives in our federal government who think that amnesty is the right way to go and forget about those two little letters before the legal in illegal immigration want to take, it's wrong. And I think Wisconsin needs to put a stop to illegal immigration too, because it is taxing for all 50 states, like you said.
Anybody else? Well, then I'll take one more.
All right.
Because I'm always full of questions. Also in the vein of federal encroachment on the authority of states, one of the weapons that we see the federal government using again and again and again is funding. They will say, if you don't do what we're telling you to do, or if you do what we're telling you not to do, we will remove funding from you for this project or that project or this part of your infrastructure or whatever. Where do you stand on federal funding? And do you have what it takes to stand beside a governor and stand beside a Wisconsin legislature and say, go ahead, fire the gun, federal government, we don't care?
Absolutely. When I said earlier that I plan to govern as if I don't expect to be reelected, that's real. You know, I think it's kind of taken the Chris Christie attitude toward governance. And I think that we all need to have that right now. We need to be fearless in the face of all of this progressivism. Because if we are not, then what the Founding Fathers intended is not really being executed. And the Founding Fathers never intended for the federal government to be a gigantic piggy bank. Now, granted, we pay into that piggy bank. There are going to be a lot of people who say, well, we need to be getting ours. Tom Barrett, in his 67-page job plan, wants to, or I'm sorry, this is in his 26-page diet plan, wants to actually create more government, create more bureaucracy in the state of Wisconsin, and invent a let's find federal money plan. So he wants to create a new bureaucracy so they can comb the federal government and shake the pockets for the state of Wisconsin. We don't need any more bureaucracies. More government is not the answer. Local government is the answer here. If the federal government is going to refuse to give us tax dollars, if we don't do what they say, then they refuse to give us tax dollars if we don't do what they say. Because we are not sheeple. We're people.